Hey everyone, Banana here. I'm excited to bring you King of the Course for Downtown. Sorry there's no real crown on my head. That was AI generated. I don't actually have that one. Anyway, King of the Course Downtown. Your goal is to get top 50 in this event. We play the course 4 times through, 1 through 9. The second time is 9 through 1, and then 1 through 9, and 9 through 1, playing them in reverse order the last time as well. Top 50 are getting a custom disc that is preset with this King of the Course Downtown stamp designed by Westy. The event winner, whoever takes first place, is going to be taking home a custom disc of their choosing, mold and attributes, with that same stamp. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the 9 holes of Downtown. This is not the exact win reads from the event. These are just random wins that came up in practice mode. It would talk through some strategy for the event and how to attack each one of these holes. Good luck. Starting out first on Downtown 1, you take your glide skip drive, or one of your glide skip distance drivers if you have one. Slide right, put the top chevron right around this lamp post here. Make sure you're under that tree and give it a little bit of hyzer. It really doesn't matter how tightly you turn this corner. I like to cut it a little bit closer because it feels a bit easier to get across. Even if you're on the right side of that wall of trees, it helps, and you can get down there though. From 370 feet, I'm pretending like backhand for choosing distance. So for me, that's going to be the accurate water skip sapphire that I'm going to switch to. I'm going to take the accurate water skip sapphire, put it on forehand, and aim it out to the left a little bit so the natural fade of the disc can bring me right back towards the green. So I went with the backhand distance, but do it on forehand to account for the elevation change. If you have a really tough wind like this one, you're going to end up on the right side of the tree line after you get out here off the tee, like this is going to. And a poor skip is going to leave us quite a bit out here, but we're still pretty far downhill. So I'm going to calculate this distance by taking 100 feet off. So 445, I'm going to call it 345. But 345 feet into a headwind, I'm going to be able to go with my Glide Sapphire. This disc is going to turn probably more than you're expecting on hand because of the elevation change downhill. And it slides up here pretty far, but even if you fall short like this, behind the bush, you can save it with a rotate the world putt. So I'm going to take my putter, slide right, rotate all the way to the right here, and I'm using the slider marker to point right in the middle of the chains, kind of near the top of the basket. Good tip from Aaron Christensen here. And you can slide the disc over and get that putt in the chain still to save your birdie. Of course, a little bit more power, a little bit more disc would have been ideal there, but it works out just to say being able to rotate the world to save the putt. So you have one more here, going to get down low, turn the corner. If you get caught up in these bushes, it's just a little bit further to go, but you can still get dent for the birdie. If you get close enough like this, we got 313, you can take the risky run with something like a musket or your sticky fairway driver and try to get the eagle. It's pretty high risk because that miss is likely to go OB. This one got lucky hitting the spin-off games advertisement sign, and we're still getting the birdie. Probably not one that's worth running eagle going for top 50. On Downtown 2, the play of this one is almost always going to be for birdie. I'm going to take the diamond, use the middle chevron, kind of down in the base of this bench here on the right, and give it a straight pullback because that 3-wind is going to help keep that straight, going straight towards the basket for a pretty easy look at the birdie there. If you have more of this right to left wind or a neutral wind, same aim point with the diamond, but this time we're going to give it a little bit of hyzer to account for the wind, push it in that direction, and make sure this disc stays straight. And again, you're going to be pretty close onto the green for the birdie. Hard left or right winds, you can go straight in the basket, more of a backhand like these. If I show you a neutral wind, we can do it with a Glide Sapphire or your Glide Fairway driver as well. Same aim point. We're just adding a little bit of hyzer to essentially take the same line that we took with the diamond, but with your Glide Fairway instead, going straight up towards the basket that way. There's an ace run here with a Skip Sapphire or a Skip Fairway driver just below the basket, and that's a full disc of anhyzer. If it sneaks by that tree, not quite. It is going to be safe there. We'll try more to give a look at this. A little bit less anhyzer on this with the same aim point. And it's looking better here. Skips up towards the basket. A little bit off to the sides. You can see the ace run is there. The big danger here comes if you miss off to the left side. This is one that I probably wouldn't recommend running most of the time. If you need to go at it with a backhand, you can take the accurate water skip sapphire just like that, slipping up the right side here. It's a riskier line with more in the way, but especially if that left or right wind, that might be the best way to go at it. On hole 3, what you need to do here is make sure you get out pretty far to the right. If you miss, your miss has to be to the right. You're gonna go down the bench, give it a lot of Anheuser here. This is exactly what I'm trying to do. Maybe not so much behind this tree. If you have your throwing disc at the curb around obstacles, this is doable to save. Most of the time, you're going to be sliding down further. Go like 50 feet of power here with the tempo, and does indeed turn the corner to save that birdie. But the really important thing on this hole, especially with a wind like this, is make sure your miss is to the right. You're not trying to get it next to the basket. You're not trying to park this shot. You're trying to get in range to get the birdie. And this is a great way to get the birdie. If that was more of the basket, it's slide an OB over the curb. Because we aimed out to the right, we're able to get the birdie with that extra slide and keep us inbounds. There's a lot more room to the right side of the basket there. There is an ace run at this that I'm not super familiar with. It's something like this with the glide skip ride outer on the left side. Definitely check out Aaron Christensen's channel if you want to see how to actually do this ace run. But it's something like that if you want to go at it. Obviously, it's risky. I got lucky with the bench there to keep it in to get the birdie. It's a risky play you can go for if you want to get aggressive. Downtown 4 is the first time you're really going to have the decisions to make of how are you going to try to get close to that edge. The safer way to do it is your white glide or your turn glide driver. Aim up the fairway, try to aim towards the right side. This brings a lot of these bushes and trees into play, but it can get you pretty close up here to have a look at the eagle. 213 feet. My throw for 213 feet. This is going to be the river. You can try to go at this to get it, and eagle is a very real possibility. See if I can get one here. This is, yep, there we go. Able to get the eagle, even going the safe way at it. It doesn't put eagle out of play. It just makes it sometimes a little bit tougher. With this big left or right wind, we go glide, water skip, drive. Even though it's a more overstable disc, the wind is going to give it that turn all on its own. We got caught up in those bushes a bit early, but similarly, we're going to get 243 feet. We're going to have a look towards this basket. Not quite there, but it's there for the birdie. Birdie is going to be absolutely okay on Downtown 4 here. If you want to get a little bit more aggressive, you can go with your flippy skippy driver and right at the basket and try to get the Anheuser just right. If you can get this angle right, which honestly is a little bit tough to do, you're going back towards the curb, so you can be nice and close here. Dead skip might save me on that one. Sometimes it'll slide and hit the curb to stay in. Let's try this one more time, see if we can get that angle a little bit better though. You go back to that glide skip paradigm, aiming down a bit more. And here's the Anheuser. You see how it's going straight up the fairway, and it's finishing towards the right side and closer to the basket, rather than leaking away from the basket near the end of its flight. We had a similar 213 feet, just like we had on our first backhand throw. See if we can get lucky to save this one again. And no, this one's a little bit short, but we're still going to be able to get the birdie, which is completely fine. So it's a decision. Do you got to go backhand, try to get really close? Do you got to go forehand and try to get really close that way? I think this 3 wind definitely calls for the forehand so that you're keeping straight on this fairway. If you try to go backhand in that 3 wind pushing you right to left, you're going to end up really far away. Or here you can get the unlucky dead skip, and they'll drop you right around that 200-ish foot range. Just try to make this throw in as well. See if you get one more time with the river. The whole goal here is if you miss, you have to miss long. If you miss short, you might end up with something like this, where you're kicking OB and turning the eagle attempt into a quick par. Downtown 5 is the first hole where birdie is just not going to cut it. You're going to have to get eagle probably at least 3 out of 4 times here in order to be in the top 50. So I'm going to take something overstable as a glide skipper because you want to turn this corner around the fence down at the bottom. I aim out to the left and try to let the natural fade of the disc turn this corner. One tree to miss can get us in position. And with a dead skip, it's going to be a little bit tougher to do. At 542, I could probably turn this corner still with something like the light glide paradigm. A flippy light driver or your turn driver should be able to get up here, aim out to the left, and force this over. It's certainly more of an aggressive line to try to save this. I know from 542, with the one wind, the neutral wind, I'm going to be able to get up here to save the eagle. If you don't have as good of a wind, honestly, don't be afraid to lay that up. It's not a terrible decision. If you don't think you're going to be crossing that water, like a wind like this, give it a shot. Get the glide skip arrive down there, see how close in we can cut this. And this is looking pretty good if it gets a good skip. It gets a fantastic skip. So this one, I probably am going to actually be close enough to clear this water. 496. I'll go with the glide skip drive. Get a little bit extra distance after I get up there and across the water. And this is going to get there. Jump over the bush, please. Jump through the bush, and it'll be up here for the eagle. If you're not sure you're going to be clearing the water, totally feel free, lay it up. A forehand around the side here, or even a backhand that bails out early to the left is a much better choice than taking the risky shot going across the water if you're not sure you're going to make it. It ends up pretty far down here. You still have a bit of a long look for the eagle. Even though it's a long look, you have a shot at it, and the idea here is make it birdie at worst. We were lucky enough to get that one. That could have been the eagle with the layup, even though we were taking a safe way around. It's that decision. If you know you're going to get the eagle, or confident enough to get across for the eagle, you got to go for it every time. If you don't feel confident getting across, certainly consider the layup play. Make sure that you're going to be able to at least get birdie at worst. Stay par free, stay bogey free. Here's a dead skip that's going to show us one where you might think about going like water skip drive and bend around the corner. And this is another one, the dead skip. If we could go right side, we would, but instead we have to go around the left side for the Mando. The water skip just gives us extra security if we were to fall short into the water there. And again, we have a long bid, 198. With enough trees in the way here, I'd even take this and just get in there for the birdie. There's a lot of danger if you try to go for that. And so it's okay, just lay it up here and take the birdie. As long as you're not getting par, bogey, or worse. You can give up one, maybe two strokes here by taking birdies on this hole. On Downtown 6, it's another one where eagles pretty much a must get. With the advent of water skip into the game, though, this hole got much easier. You can just take your glide fairway off the tee. So for me, it's the glide sapphire. I'm going to open up this angle a little bit more by sliding right. Get down plenty low and give it some Anheuser off the tee here. Your goal is to land just to the right of this light post, like we did here. Your glide water skip driver is going to make this second shot pretty trivial. Aim it out to the right side, give it mostly a straight pullback, and let the wind straighten that back out and send you up onto the green for a pretty routine, straightforward eagle from here. Water skip makes this hole way, way easier. So if you have one, it's certainly worth putting in your bag for this particular hole. If you don't have the water skip, there are other ways you can go about this. You should get the more neutral wind here. This time will be one more with the water skip. The glide sapphire right around the landing zone that we're going for, just to the right of the post. No problem. And if you're over 500 feet is when you might want to start thinking about laying it up around to the right side. But at 497, we have room, even with the two headwind, just barely get in here, maybe a double skip, barely get in there to the green to be able to get the eagle here. Now, if you don't have that water skip, take your glide, well, it's a glide water skip drive for me, but whatever your glide distance driver is, maybe glide roll will work even better here. Throw it low, and you're trying to get as close to this fence as you can. Touching the fence is perfect, because even though the fence is above your throwing height, if you slide right and get your disc just a little bit inside the fence, you can throw straight through it as though it's not even there. So this is one where I'd be thinking a glide roll drive or whatever your roll or sticky distance driver is to get at the green. For me, it's the water skip sticky paradigm. I can hit it low up this gap here, drive at the basket, straight over the water. No water skip needed. It's able to get here to be able to get the eagle as well. Another way to go at this is take your flippy skippy driver, throw it around the right side. You have a lot of trees to challenge here, but if you get through these trees just fine, like this looks like it's going to do, yes, you can be pretty close to the basket, usually within 400 feet here. 401, so you can go water skip rive, or again, your sticky or your roll rive is plenty to get across this green and be able to get you that eagle. So this is one in this King of the Course event. You're probably going to have to get this at least 3 out of 4 times, unless there's a lot of really bad winds that where a birdie's going to work. But 3 out of 4 times for eagle is probably going to keep you in the running for that top 50. Yeah, down 7 is the next hole you're going to come across. This is all about taking your sticky fairway driver and just getting on that green on the far side. There is a layup play that used to be more of a real viable possibility before this hole got shortened, but at 376, there's no reason to take anything but your fairway. Aim out to the left side of this island because you're aiming down, and let the fairway turn out of your hand and get down onto this green. This bridge and that wall to the left, the spin-off games wall, are most of the time going to stop your disc and get you just fine here. Ignore that putt because we needed to throw it 45 feet onto the elevated basket. We're going to take the musket again, aim down low. This time the wind's pushing us the other way. So we got a little bit of Anheuser to make that adjustment. And we get down to the green when this wall stops us. If you're not going sticky and you're trying to go windbreak or water skip or even a glide fairway driver, you're probably going to hit that island and jump right over the wall. So sticky is necessary. All about making the wind adjustments here. You have that 3 wind, give it plenty more Anheuser. And again, the sticky is going to slow us down enough that we're going to stop at the base of this wall to be on the green for the throw in. There is the ace run possibility here. You can take the Glide Sapphire, something like this down to the left, give it a bit of hyzer, and this might, oh, this could be fun. Oh, almost get it on my first time at it, right off the top of the band. That's pretty safe, actually, if you miss to the right side. If you miss left, you're probably going over that wall right into the water. Downtown 8 coming up next. Your goal here is to get off the tee and get close to that cement, to that driveway, street, that's what it is, the street, in the middle of this fairway. But you don't have to get super close there. So with this right to left wind, we're going to go with the forehand and take the Glide Sapphire down low to give it some more natural turn and a little bit of Anheuser. It is really okay if this doesn't get super close there because your light glide or your turn glide distance driver is going to have no problem getting to this green. At 418, I don't want to go with the skip line because frankly, it's tougher to get there with the skip line. There's a lot more obstacles in your way. So we're going to take our light glide and go right over the top here. The over the top play takes so many of those trees out of play. You might get some foliage here, happen to clear it all on this one, and get you right down to the green with a pretty simple birdie. This is one where you don't need to be thinking eagle. Getting birdie is going to be good enough to keep you in the top 50 here. Birdie 4 times is a solid win on this one. This wind is a little bit less pushing. So if we're going with backhand, we're going to go with the accurate water skip Sapphire. Slide down to the left, give us an Anheuser to keep it straightened out here. If it stops right around this bench on the left side of my screen, this is actually a great position. You saw my last shot actually went a little bit long, so it's okay to be a little bit longer from the basket here. Again, light glide paradigm. Over the top of this tree, if you clear this bunch of trees, you're very likely to end up with a good look, be able to save the birdie here. 90 feet, we're a little bit further out here, but we can save this one with the fuse. The 2 wind has us going to 70 feet of power. That's a little bit downhill as well, which makes me think we could probably throw this in with about 50 feet of power. And there we go. There's the birdie going that way. So backhand or forehand off the tee, light glide over the top. There is an eagle play you can go for, something like this, the glide skip rive over the top. I'm not even going to bother going for it without the helping wind. If you have that big helping wind, you might decide to get aggressive. But again, the safe play, the smart play here, in my opinion, is take the water skip or your non-glide fairway driver, non-glide, non-sticky fairway driver off the tee. You can try to go around the right side with something like your glide skip rive. Obviously, I don't play that much and mess this one up a bit, but there's a lot more obstacles in the way there, and it's likely a lot more to mess up. Let's try it again with a little bit less hyzer on it. It gets up here, kind of a soft bit of eagle. You can get the skip just right and occasionally skip that in, but you're going to get up here around the right side, much tougher. A longer throw in through 80 feet. We'll still be able to get this, but again, I think the best way is over the top. If you don't have that light glide, going around is not a terrible idea. The Echo 9 is one where what you're going for is birdie. There's absolutely no eagle, and bogey comes into play very quickly if you're going OB off the tee. I think the best play for this one is your glide water skip rive. If you have something like a gold or a stride that has a little bit more turn, it's add less anhyzer. Top chevron right on this window out here in the distance. And when you pull back, you do about 2/3 power and a little bit of anhyzer on this. The fantastic thing about this shot is that you're not throwing with so much power to easily burn over. This shot was even a little bit further to the right than I would have liked, but it's soft enough that it fades back there. If we miss and don't give it enough anhyzer, fades off early to the left. Again, you threw it softer, so it's going to most of the time run out of steam before it can even get to or even over this curb on the left side. Thankful we have those curbs here now. This course used to not have the curbs there at all. It was a much tougher shot. And honestly, much more fun, I think, at the top level, but I understand it's much more frustrating for players who didn't have a good tee shot down here. If you have this wind pushing you out to the right more, you just add a little bit less anhyzer to it. That same shot here, the wind is pushing out. It'll fade us forward down towards the green, and it's going to run out of steam before it has a chance of going over that wall. Take the throw in, we're adding 10 feet of power, 80 to walk for the wind, throw 60 power to get the birdie here. If you have a crazy wind, take something like your water skip sticky paradigm or a flippy tweener. If you have one of that, you can aim down the basket and go more straight at this. Like here. The whole goal on this is get inbounds. If you don't feel confident attacking the basket in this wind, don't be afraid to do something like throw your Glide Sapphire. Actually, let's check out the Glide Sapphire line in the same wind, same shot. We're going to do a Glide Sapphire, give it a bunch of anhyzer. And in a tough wind like this, frankly, I think it's okay to give up going for the birdie and just make sure you're getting the par. If you go out of bounds, especially at this kind of distance with this kind of wind, the par or the bogey is very, very likely. Actually, the par is pretty unlikely if you go out of bounds early. A little bit short there. We're able to get up close to the basket to be able to say what would be the par if that was our first tee shot. So here it is, king of the course coming for you. Got this 3 wind again. Hopefully these lines help you out on some holes that you may be less familiar with. Take some time to get into practice it. If you want to get into practice, you want to just jump in, certainly do that as well. Best of luck to you in your rounds and shooting for top 50. And as always, stay bogey free.